Why do we fear death more than we fear wasting life? It's strange, isn't it? We think so much about that last breath, that final moment. Yet we walk through so many of our days half awake. How many times have you put off a dream because you thought there would be more time? How many mornings have you woken up and gone through the motions without really living? Death scares us, but shouldn't wasting the life we already have scare us even more? Today on Mind in the Mirror, we're going to face this question together. We'll ask, what does it really mean to live fully? Why do we let fear of the end control us, while the quiet waste of our days slips by unnoticed? If these are questions you've asked yourself too, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe to Mind in the Mirror and hit that like button, because together, we're not just talking about life. We're learning how to truly live it. Part 1. Our ancient fear of death. Death is the oldest fear we carry. Long before cities, before science, before philosophy, humans lived side by side with danger. The dark was not just emptiness, it was filled with predators. Illnesses came without names or cures. A small injury could end a life. Everywhere we looked, death was close. To fear death back then was not weakness, it was survival. Those who carried this fear stayed cautious, alert, and alive long enough to raise children. That fear became part of us, passed down through generations like invisible DNA. In a way, it is not just your fear, it is humanity's fear. But here is the twist. The world has changed faster than our fear. Most of us no longer face wild animals at night or sudden deadly diseases every day. We have houses, medicine, and safety that our ancestors could never imagine. Yet the same old fear still lingers inside us. It is heavy, loud, and always whispering, death is near. And while we keep listening to that fear, waiting for the end, we often miss the life happening right in front of us. We spend so much time fearing death that we waste the very days we're afraid to lose. Part 2. The illusion of time. We fear death because it feels like the end of everything. But maybe what makes it so scary is not death itself. It's how we live before it comes. Most of us walk through life as if time is unlimited. We tell ourselves there will always be more. More time to say the words we hold back. More time to spend with the people we love. More time to chase the dreams we quietly carry inside. But the truth is, time doesn't wait. It slips through our fingers every day. One sunrise turns into sunset, one year turns into another, and without noticing, the future we thought we had becomes the past we can't get back. Life is not lost only in one sudden, dramatic moment. It's also lost slowly, in the small ways we waste it. We scroll for hours. We put things off until later. We wait for the perfect time, as if tomorrow is promised. And while we worry about the day death will arrive, we let countless moments of life fade away without living them fully. So the real question is, what's the greater loss? The day we die, or the days we never truly lived? Part 3. Why wasting life hurts less. Here's the truth about life. Wasting it doesn't scare us because it doesn't hit us all at once. When you waste a day, nothing dramatic happens. The sun still rises, the world keeps moving, and tomorrow comes. It feels harmless. You tell yourself, I'll do it later, and life quietly slips by. But death feels different. It feels final. No more tomorrows. No more second chances. That sharp ending is what shakes us to our core. It feels like a door slamming shut forever, and that's why we fear it so deeply. Yet, here's the paradox. Wasting life is its own kind of death, just slower. Every moment we spend waiting, delaying, or drifting is a small piece of life lost. It doesn't hurt in the moment, but over time, it leaves the deepest scars. The sharp end of death might frighten us more, but the slow fade of wasted time is the real tragedy. Because one day, we'll look back and realize the greatest loss wasn't death itself. It was the days we let slip away, the dreams we never chased, the love we never gave, and the life we never fully lived. That's the real fear, never truly living. Part 4. What we're really afraid of. What are we really afraid of when we think about death? Is it the pain? Is it the unknown? Or is it the weight of regret? Picture yourself at the very end of life. If you had chased your dreams, loved without holding back, forgiven easily, and lived with courage, would death still seem terrifying? Or would it feel more like the final chapter of a story told well, closing with peace instead of fear? Maybe death itself isn't the real enemy. Maybe the real fear is looking back and realizing you never truly lived at all, that you let fear, doubt, or routine steal your days. Because in the end, death comes for everyone. But not everyone actually lives before it does. And that's the part we should fear most. The life unlived, not the life ending. Part 5. Why modern life distracts us. Modern life makes this struggle even harder. Everywhere we look, there are distractions. Phones buzzing, work piling up, endless tasks and noise. Our schedules are packed so tightly that we rarely stop to breathe, let alone ask ourselves the deeper questions. Am I really living, or just moving through the motions? We mistake being busy for being alive. We mistake comfort for real fulfillment. And while we're caught in that cycle, time quietly slips away. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and before we notice, life has passed us by. The scariest part isn't death itself, it's the thought that maybe we wasted the time we were given. What if our fear of death is actually distracting us from the truth? That every unlived day is its own small death. That sometimes we aren't afraid of dying tomorrow, we're afraid we're already dying today. Part 6. Facing death, choosing life. Here's the strange paradox. When we stop running from our fear of death and face it with honesty, life suddenly feels sharper, clearer, more alive. The ancient Stoic philosophers had a practice called memento mori, which means, remember you will die. They didn't use it to be dark or depressing. They used it as a reminder to wake up, to see every sunrise as a gift, to recognize that every breath is borrowed time. When you keep death in mind, you stop living on autopilot. You stop waiting for the right moment to chase your dreams, to say what matters, to spend time with the people you love. You stop pretending there will always be another tomorrow. Instead, you begin to ask yourself important questions. What matters most today? Who do I want to be right now? What am I willing to stop wasting time on? Ironically, the best way to ease the fear of death is not to ignore it, but to let it remind you to live fully, to make each day meaningful, to live in such a way that when the end comes, it feels less like a tragedy and more like the closing of a story well lived. Part 7. Redefining fear. Maybe we're asking the wrong question. It's not just about why we fear death more than wasting life. It's about what would happen if we flipped that fear. What if the thing that terrified us wasn't the thought of dying, but the thought of letting our days slip away without meaning? What if the scariest thing wasn't the end of life, but the idea of never really living it? Think about it. If we truly feared wasting life, wouldn't we act differently? Maybe we'd forgive faster instead of holding on to grudges that weigh us down. Maybe we'd take more risks, not the reckless kind, but the ones that lead to growth and joy. We'd probably say, "I love you" more often, without waiting for the right moment. We'd chase that dream we've been postponing, not someday, but today. Maybe this is the fear we actually need, not the fear of death, but the fear of letting life pass by untouched. Because if we lived with that awareness, every moment would carry more weight, more color, more urgency. Maybe then, we wouldn't just exist. We'd truly live. Part 8. The gentle reminder. Here's the gentle truth. You will die. I will die. Everyone you know will too. At first, that thought feels heavy, maybe even sad. But if you sit with it, you realize it can also be freeing. Death is not something we can outrun. It is not a mistake in the system. It is part of life itself. When you accept that, you stop wasting energy trying to fight the inevitable. You stop filling your days with fear of what's coming. Instead, you begin to notice what's already here: the sunlight on your face, the sound of laughter, the people you love. The real question is not, how can I avoid death? Because you can't. The real question is, how can I avoid wasting life? Every moment is a chance to live fully, to give meaning, to be awake while you're here. Closing. Reflection. So, why do we fear death more than we fear wasting life? Maybe because death feels like an ending, but wasting life feels quiet, almost invisible. Yet the truth is clear. When we waste time, we're wasting the very life we're so afraid to lose. The only way to soften the fear of death is to live fully now, to fill our days with meaning, so that when the end does come, we face it with peace, not regret. So ask yourself, are you really living? Or are you just passing time? Are you chasing what matters or letting it slip away? This was Mind in the Mirror. If this reflection touched something in you, don't just leave it here. Subscribe, like this video, and join us. Together, we'll keep asking the questions that shape us. And maybe, start living the answers.